We've got notes right here from the Outback Bowl. Ole Miss 26, Indiana 20th. Right right after it happened. We're right here. I haven't done this in about a week, so this might be a little bit of rough go of, and I'm going to get back on it coming up next week again. I needed a week off because this is about to be a very, very busy year. Again, Ole Miss 26, Indiana 20 in the Outback Bowl in Tampa, Florida. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. Thank you so much for joining us. And basically, in the game, it was a total domination in the first half. And then Ole Miss's defense ran out of gas in the fourth quarter, and we kind of held on for dear life. And there's a couple of things that we need to take forward because I think it is important that we take forward the fact that bowl games are now the first game of next season. They are no longer the last game of this season. That's the way people go on with all the opt outs. It lets you know where your holes are, what needs to be fixed going forward. But it's not the end unless you were in the playoff. I mean, the playoff is the end of the season. Otherwise, a bowl game is like the game at the end of spring practice, a spring game. But as it stands, Ole Miss was victorious in the Outback Bowl 26-20 over the 11th ranked Indiana Hoosiers. In the day, Matt Corral was 30 of 44, two touchdowns, 342 yards. John Rice Plumlee added 4 yards through the air. On the ground, Henry Parrish carried the load. He did 63 yards. Snoop Connor did 43. He had a big touchdown. He had a series where he broke through. Matt Corral finished with 37. John Rice Plumlee got 4 yards rushing as well. And then you look at receiving, and it's kind of interesting with all the weapons that are out. In the first half, it was kind of the Casey Kelly show. He caught a touchdown pass. Dontario Drummond went 6 for 110, caught an absolute laser for the final touchdown of the day, which proved to be the winning touchdown. The tight ends were Casey Kelly and Henry Parrish. And they are not Henry Parrish. Chase Rogers, he got extended playing time. And at the end of the day, it was very spread out. It was very good. It was nice and fluid considering Braylon Sanders, Jerry and Ely, Elijah Moore, Kenny Aboa. They were all out. All of our first four options were gone. So we had to keep going. So we basically beat Indiana with a C team. And with that C team, we were able to do that, and it builds all kind of momentum going forward. It's absolutely amazing. The Rebels finished 5-5 this season with a win over the 11th ranked team. It's Lane Kiffin's best win in Oxford, and you can take that directly to the next signing period and into the transfer market, because it is a pretty consistent kind of bend from recruiting. There's the early signing period, there's the bowl game, there's the late signing period, then there's transfer, and then you're getting ready for spring practice, and then the summer workouts. So it's all going to be a part of that. And this year being a special year like it was, and finishing after the early signing day at about 18th in recruiting, with some actually very top-notch players signed in that class, you can see there's holes that need to be filled. Ole Miss today on defense, you can tell there was probably 13 or 14 genuine first-string players out there, but whenever they substitute, there was a significant drop. That happened on offense as well. John Rice Plumlee finished with 5 receptions for 73 yards, including a 44-yarder. He caught the ball pretty well. He caught the ball pretty naturally. He dropped one earlier on a wheel route. It was kind of hard to catch, and especially somebody that had nerves probably running all through them. He actually showed himself pretty well, and if he would concentrate on that, he has a chance to be a star. in that position because he just moves effortlessly. But he needs to learn the intricacies of the position with the double moves and the taking of space and setting up defenders and things like that. He needs to work on that in the offseason. And then all of a sudden, the fall is going to open up nice. But he caught the ball really well. Surprisingly well, actually. But the defense for 3 quarters today, giving up 6 points. That's all you could ask for. The offense obviously was severely limited because of injuries and opt-outs and things like that. But they were able to do enough to win the game even after the defense basically completely ran out of gas. Ole Miss finished with 27 first downs, 493 yards, 346 passing, 147 rushing. There's a bit of a penalty problem today, and that could be more along the lines of the officials just calling it extra tight. But at the end of the day, they did what they were supposed to do, and they won the game. Now, I want to, in this We've Got Notes thing, we're also probably going to talk about it on the podcast next week, and we're also probably going to talk about it on Around the SEC this week. It is time to expand the playoff. Why? Why is my position that? Well, Ole Miss can never get a bite of the apple the way it's set up. It is set up to be a Blue Bloods club, and all of the players in the country are going to those schools to play in those games. It's a very tight fraternity. If you expand it to 8, you also expand those players. If you expand it to 16, you expand it even further, and it makes the postseason meaningful. The biggest fear that people said whenever we started with the playoff is it would devalue the postseason and the regular season for some reason. I don't really understand that. But that is true. The postseason has been degraded. The 2 games that matter on January 1st are the playoff games. The national championship game on the 11th. And there's not going to be any opt-outs for that. So what you need to do is you need to expand that. You need to probably incorporate those bowl games, some bowl games, into the expansion. You could go up to 8 and have all the New Year's Six in there and give all the Power 5 conferences automatic bids. You can give the top-ranked group of 5 champion, just like it's set up now, and at large the rest of it. So it would work. But as it stands now, you can't expect a kid that is not getting paid to risk their future for basically what is extensively a meaningless bowl. Now, it might mean something to you, but to them, they're probably thinking about that paycheck, and they do not want to put that at risk, whether they can get it or not. But they're at the point now where you don't want to get shot after the armistice is signed. So that's just kind of an idea on that. It is time, and it will be this show's policy to expand the playoffs. You can do that through bowl games and bring them in, and you can go to 8 and incorporate all of the New Year's Six, which they're already doing. But that'll help some. But it also will give access to non-blue blood teams, and it is important for Ole Miss to get there. Remember, when it comes to the way things are set up, rules are set up to favor certain teams. They just are. You can just look at it. You can look at the NCAA. You can do the whole 9 yards. So we need to change the rules. We need to change the way things get done for Ole Miss to get a seat at the table. We need a new table because the other one doesn't have Ole Miss in it. And today they played really well. They played really hard. They don't have the number of bodies. They probably played 42 or 43 players. And they were able to hold on against a nearly top 10 team that took Ohio State to the limit. That's pretty cool. And that's a feather in the cap of Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin right now. So We get those defensive linemen in. We get that linebacker. We get the defensive back. We do a lot of shoring up on the defensive side of the ball. And the next year, John Rice Plumlee works in the slot. He has actually very good hands. I mean, today showed that. And he has a chance to be really special. Now, that also, with him working on that, it is up to Kincaid Dent and Luke Altmaier to do what they can to be successful and take the next step, because that's a backup quarterback out of the room. Jonathan Mingo was invisible again. I hate to see that. Dontario Drummond had quite the game. And Whop Philliard had 18 receptions for 81 yards. So it didn't go anywhere, but he caught a bunch of them. In fact, he caught 18 out of 26. So only 8 receptions went to other players. Ty Freifogel from Lucedale was really a non-factor other than a couple of pass interferences. And it all worked out. It all kind of went according to plan. Oh, before we get out of here, we almost lost that game because of special teams. The score of that game should have been 33-20. At the worst, 30-20. But because of 2 missed field goals and a missed extra point, which honestly, it should be expected. We've been terrible for a long time in that part of the game. But it shows the importance of signing a kicker. Just wanted to get that out there. And other than that, they did pretty well. Dennis Jackson in the return game. I'm curious to see which players from our team transfers, and we know which holes are going to be there. It wasn't a true bowl week. It was kind of just like a scheduled game for a couple of days. But it all worked out. Anyway, that was We've Got Notes. I've been your host, Stephen Willis, and, I just want to say congratulations to everybody on the team. Outback Bowl champions, Ole Miss 26, Indiana 20. Hotty toddy.